I want to give an overview of the joint rules of the Assembly and Senate. Generally, on the first day of the start of every 2 year session, but not always, the Assembly and Senate adopt a concurrent resolution that has the joint rules of the Senate and Assembly. In the most recent session, 2021-22 session, Senate Concurrent Resolution 82 by Pro Tem Atkins was used to adopt the joint rules. So the following is a summary or an overview of those rules. Joint Rule 1 deals with standing committees. Joint Rule 3 deals with joint meetings of committees. Joint Rule 3.5 is on the effect of adoption of the joint rules. Joint Rule 4 deals with the definition of the word bill. Joint Rule 5 deals with concurrent and joint resolutions. Joint Rule 6 deals with resolutions treated as bills. Joint Rule 7 deals with the title of bills. Joint Rule 8 deals with the division of bills into sections. Joint Rule 8.5 deals with the digest of bills introduced. Joint Rule 8.6 deals with the digest of bills amended. Joint Rule 8.7 deals with errors in the digest. Joint Rule 8.8 deals with bills amending Title IX of the Government Code. Joint Rule 8.9 deals with bills amending the California Stem Cell Research and Cures Act. Joint Rule 8.95 deals with bills amending Section 6 of the Smaller Classes, Safer Schools and Financial Accountability Act. Joint Rule 8.96 deals with bills amending the Protect App-Based Drivers and Services Act. Joint Rule 9 deals with restrictions as to amendments. Joint Rule 10 deals with changes in existing law to be marked by the author. Joint Rule 10.5 deals with the re-referral to fiscal and rules committees. Joint Rule 10.6 deals with short titles. Joint Rule 10.7 deals with the heading of bills. Joint Rule 10.8 deals with consideration of bills. Joint Rule 11 deals with printing of amendments. Joint Rule 12 deals with the manner of printing bills. Joint Rule 13 deals with the distribution of legislative publications. Joint Rule 13.1 deals with the legislative index. Joint Rule 13.3 deals with the summary digest. Joint Rule 13.5 deals with the statutory record. Joint Rule 14 deals with the printing of the daily journal. Joint Rule 15 deals with what shall be printed in the daily journal. Joint Rule 16 deals with the printing of the daily file. Joint Rule 17 deals with the printing of the history. Joint Rule 18 deals with the authority for printing orders. Joint Rule 19 deals with the Secretary and Chief Clerk to keep the records. Joint Rule 20 deals with the Secretary and Chief Clerk are required to endorse bills. Joint Rule 21 deals with after a bill has been passed by the Senate or Assembly. Joint Rule 22 deals with messages to be in writing under proper signatures. Joint Rule 22.1 deals with the consent calendar for uncontested bills. Joint Rule 22.2 deals with the consent calendar. Joint Rule 22.3 deals with consideration of bills on the consent calendar. Joint Rule 23.5 deals with the procedure on the defeat of more than a majority vote bill. Joint Rule 24 deals with the enrollment of a bill after passage. Joint Rule 25 deals with amendments to amended bills that must be attached. Joint Rule 25.5 deals with amendments to concurrent and joint resolutions. Joint Rule 26 deals with to concur or refuse to concur in amendments. Joint Rule 26.5 deals with reference to committee. Joint Rule 27 deals with concurring in amendments, adding an urgency section. Joint Rule 28 deals with when the Senate or Assembly refuses to concur. Joint Rule 28.1 deals with conference committees. Joint Rule 29 deals with conference committee organization and reports. Joint Rule 29.5 deals with conference committee meetings. Joint Rule 30 deals with conference committee reports. Joint Rule 30.5 deals with conference committee reports on urgency statutes. Joint Rule 30.7 deals with failure to agree on a report. Joint Rule 31 deals with authority when rules do not govern. Joint Rule 32 deals with press rules. Joint Rule 33 deals with dispensing with the joint rules. Joint Rule 33.1 deals with dispensing with the joint rules unanimous consent. Joint Rule 34 deals with opinions of the Legislative Council. Joint Rule 34.1 deals with resolutions prepared by the Legislative Council. Joint Rule 34.2 deals with resolutions. Joint Rule 34.5 deals with identical drafting requests. Joint Rule 35 deals with the expense of members. Joint Rule 35.5 deals with the issuance of subpoenas. Joint Rule 36 deals with investigating committees. Joint Rule 36.1 deals with expenses of committee employees. Joint Rule 36.5 deals with the appointment of committees. Joint Rule 36.7 deals with the appointment of joint committee chairpersons. Joint Rule 36.8 deals with joint committee funds. Joint Rule 37 deals with the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. Joint Rule 37.1 deals with citizen cost impact reports. Joint Rule 37.3 deals with the Joint Legislative Audit Committee. Joint Rule 37.4 deals with studies or audits. Joint Rule 37.5 deals with waivers. Joint Rule 37.7 deals with administrative regulations. Joint Rule 40 deals with the Joint Rules Committee. Joint Rule 40.1 deals with the review of administrative regulations. Joint Rule 40.3 deals with the Subcommittee on Legislative Space and Facilities. Joint Rule 41 deals with claims for workers' compensation. Joint Rule 42 deals with information concerning committees. Joint Rule 43 deals with joint committees. Joint Rule 44 deals with conflicts of interest. Joint Rule 45 deals with ethics committees. Joint Rule 50 deals with designating legislative sessions. Joint Rule 50.3 deals with designating extraordinary sessions. Joint Rule 50.5 deals with days and dates. Joint Rule 51 deals with the legislative calendar. Joint Rule 52 deals with the recall from recess. Joint Rule 52 deals with the procedure on suspending rules by a single house. Joint Rule 54 deals with the introduction of bills. Joint Rule 55 deals with the 30-day waiting period. Joint Rule 56 deals with the return of bills. Joint Rule 57 deals with appropriation bills. Joint Rule 58 deals with urgency clauses. Joint Rule 58.5 deals with vetoes. Joint Rule 59 deals with publications. Joint Rule 60 deals with committee hearings. Joint Rule 61 deals with deadlines. Joint Rule 62 deals with committee procedures. Joint Rule 62 deals with uniform rules. Joint Rule 64 deals with votes on bills. And Joint Rule 65 deals with conflicting rules.